Something extraordinary is unfolding millions of miles from Earth, far past Mars, in the deep silence of space. NASA's most advanced telescopes have detected a phenomenon unlike anything seen before. An interstellar traveler, known as 3I/Atlas, has suddenly come to life. For years, astronomers believed Atlas was nothing more than a drifting block of rock and ice, a remnant from another star system passing quietly through our solar neighborhood. But recent footage tells a very different story. Out of this supposedly inert object, something has emerged. A burst of energy. A fragment in motion. And whatever it is, it's behaving in ways that defy everything we thought we understood about comets or asteroids. This isn't just another scientific update. This is the kind of moment that makes us stop and look up, a reminder that the universe still holds secrets capable of shaking our sense of reality. Before we explore what NASA and the European Space Agency are seeing, take a second to think about this. Every discovery begins with curiosity. What we're witnessing could be one of those rare moments when science crosses into mystery, when observation becomes revelation. Because somewhere, beyond the reach of sunlight, something ancient may have awakened, and it's moving. When astronomers first spotted 3I/Atlas, it didn't seem remarkable. It was catalogued as a typical interstellar object, a frozen, green-tinted mass of rock and ice quietly passing through our solar system. Its emerald glow was explained by chemistry, diatomic carbon molecules shining under sunlight. Another wandering relic from a distant star, or so everyone thought. But that calm certainty didn't last. Recently, NASA's Solar and Heliospheric Observatory captured something completely unexpected, a sudden eruption of light. Not a random flare or a dust jet, but a structured pulse, rhythmic and deliberate, lasting only a few seconds before fading back into darkness. Scientists immediately took notice. Soon after, data from the James Webb Space Telescope added more fuel to the mystery. Instruments detected a fragment separating from the main body, a piece that seemed to move on its own. In both visible and infrared wavelengths, the detached object behaved differently from the nucleus of Atlas. It wasn't just reflecting sunlight. It appeared to be emitting faint radiation of its own. And then came the most baffling clue, a repeating pattern in the light spectrum. Every 42 seconds, the signal repeated, perfectly timed, as if following instructions. Researchers have called it a repeating spectral anomaly, a phrase that barely captures the weight of its implications. Publicly, NASA and the European Space Agency remain cautious, calling the event an unexplained outburst. But behind the scenes, the tone is different. Astrophysicists from Harvard, JPL, and ESA are quietly comparing notes, trying to understand whether this could be a new kind of natural physics, or something engineered. Whatever escaped from 3I/Atlas isn't behaving like any comet we've ever seen. It's symmetrical, radiant, and, according to the data, alive with structure. If this object truly came from beyond our solar system, we may be witnessing the first clear sign that interstellar visitors are far more complex than we ever imagined. The moment that changed everything came without warning. NASA's deep space monitoring systems registered a sudden burst from 3I/Atlas, a sharp, structured emission followed by the release of a small fragment. What appeared to be a comet had just shed something, and that something wasn't behaving like debris. At first, the scientific community assumed this was a routine outgassing event, a natural reaction as sunlight heated the object's frozen surface. That's a common occurrence with comets, trapped gases escape, creating short-lived flares. But when data from the James Webb Space Telescope was analyzed, that explanation began to crumble. Webb's instruments revealed that the escaping fragment possessed a defined, symmetrical structure. Its reflective properties didn't match the composition of 3I/Atlas's nucleus, and its spectral signature was unlike anything catalogued before. Even more astonishingly, it seemed to emit its own faint radiation, rather than simply bouncing light from the sun. Spectroscopic analysis uncovered something else, a repeating emission pattern, pulsing every 42 seconds. Not random. Not noise. A rhythm. Scientists began calling it a spectral heartbeat. To most, it was a data anomaly. But to others, it hinted at something deliberate, perhaps even engineered. And then came the motion data. Over a 72-hour period, the fragment was observed accelerating, slowly but consistently, by about 0.3 meters per second. No natural process could explain such precision. Solar wind, outgassing, or gravity all failed to account for the measured trajectory. In the quiet corners of research labs, a new idea started to circulate. What if the fragment wasn't just moving, what if it was guiding itself? NASA hasn't confirmed that theory, and likely won't anytime soon. But one thing is certain, whatever escaped from 3I/Atlas doesn't fit any known natural model. It's as if the object awakened from a long sleep, not destroyed, but activated. And if that's true, then this isn't simply a comet outburst. It's a message from beyond, written not in words, but in motion and light. When scientists plotted the movement of the fragment escaping from 3I/Atlas, the data left them speechless. Its trajectory wasn't chaotic, as you'd expect from a broken piece of ice. It was smooth, stable, and accelerating. Over a 72-hour window, instruments recorded a steady increase in velocity of 0.3 meters per second. That may sound small, but in the vacuum of space, it's enormous. No random force could sustain such a pattern. Not gas jets, not solar radiation, not gravity. Something was driving it, consistently and deliberately. If the fragment were a normal comet shard, it would tumble, spin, and gradually lose mass. But this object seemed to respond to its surroundings, changing direction ever so slightly, as if adjusting its course. For many astronomers, this triggered an uncomfortable sense of déjà vu. They remembered another visitor, Oumuamua, discovered in 2017. It too came from beyond our solar system and exhibited unexplained acceleration without outgassing or visible propulsion. At the time, Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb famously suggested it might be an artificial probe, possibly a light sail, a fragment of alien technology. The theory was dismissed as speculation. But now, with 3I/Atlas showing eerily similar behavior, people are starting to ask the same questions again. Could this be the second sign of a pattern, a continuation of something much larger? Even more unsettling, both objects, Oumuamua and 3I/Atlas, entered our solar system from roughly the same region of interstellar space. Statistically, that's nearly impossible for two unrelated objects. Some researchers are beginning to use a new term to describe it, directed trajectory. If that's true, then what we're observing isn't coincidence, it's intention. Still, official agencies are careful. NASA has not declared the acceleration artificial, emphasizing the need for more data. But behind the caution, a quiet realization is spreading, something out there may be guiding its own path through the cosmos. And if that's the case, then for the first time in history, we might not just be observing the universe, we might be witnessing something observing us back. This isn't humanity's first encounter with an interstellar visitor that refused to play by the rules. Back in 2017, astronomers detected a long, cigar-shaped object speeding through our solar system. They named it Oumuamua, meaning scout or messenger in Hawaiian, a fitting title for something that arrived unannounced from the depths between the stars. At first, Oumuamua was classified as a comet, then an asteroid, then something in between. It emitted no gas, showed no tail, and yet it accelerated mysteriously as it left the inner solar system. Scientists couldn't explain how. There was no visible propulsion, no jets of vapor, only silent motion, increasing in speed as if nudged by an invisible hand. The idea that it could be artificial was proposed by Dr. Avi Loeb of Harvard University, who suggested it might be a fragment of alien technology, perhaps a light sail, a thin structure designed to ride on starlight. The claim sparked global debate, but most dismissed it as speculation, until now. Because here we are again. With 3I/Atlas, showing the same kind of acceleration, the same refusal to follow natural patterns. And just like Oumuamua, its path through the solar system points back to the same general region of space. The odds of that happening by chance are almost zero. If two objects, years apart, came from nearly identical coordinates and both demonstrated anomalous propulsion, the question becomes unavoidable: are these connected? Some astrophysicists now wonder if we're not just seeing random debris, but fragments of a larger network, a possible interstellar system of probes or signals, set in motion long before humanity learned to gaze at the stars. It's a haunting thought. What if both objects were never meant to collide with anything, only to observe, to pass silently through space, following a route drawn ages ago? And if that's true, then 3I/Atlas may not be an isolated mystery at all. It could be the continuation of a message, one that began its journey long before Earth ever existed. As more data pours in, a new idea has begun to surface, one that blurs the line between science and science fiction. What if what we witnessed from 3I/Atlas wasn't an explosion or a breakdown, but an activation? When NASA analyzed the thermal and infrared data surrounding the release event, they found something odd. Just before the fragment detached, there was a short, concentrated pulse of heat, energy coming from within the object, not from sunlight or a nearby collision. There were no external triggers. The surrounding space was calm. Whatever happened, it began internally, as if something inside 3I/Atlas switched on. If that's natural, it's a spectacular coincidence. But if it's not, it could mean we just witnessed the awakening of a mechanism, something designed to respond after eons of dormancy, waiting for the right conditions, perhaps the warmth of a star. Some researchers have drawn comparisons to a cosmic seed, engineered to remain inert until it reached a certain energy threshold. Others describe it as a kind of vessel, a container of knowledge or data encoded into its physical structure. In either case, it challenges our definition of life and intelligence. What if intelligence doesn't require biology? What if the universe itself has found ways to preserve awareness, through machines, materials, or physics we can't yet comprehend? For centuries, humanity has sent messages into space, golden records, radio waves, probes carrying fragments of who we are. Could 3I/Atlas be someone else's version of the same idea? A messenger, not alive as we define life, but conscious in purpose. NASA remains cautious, describing the event as unexplained but under investigation. Yet behind that restraint lies a deeper question. Did we just witness a natural process, or the reawakening of something built, something ancient, something that remembers? If so, then what we're calling structured light and spectral codes might not be random data at all. They might be communication, wrapped in the physics of the stars themselves. Moments like this remind us why we look up. For most of us, life is lived close to the ground: work, noise, deadlines, routines. But every so often, something happens out there in the void that shakes us awake. Something that whispers, "You're part of something bigger." When news of the 3I/Atlas outburst broke, it stirred a mix of emotions: wonder, disbelief, even fear. For scientists who spent their careers studying predictable cosmic patterns, this was a break in the script. And for those who remember humanity's first steps beyond Earth, the space race, the moon landing, the distant echo of Neil Armstrong's voice, it felt hauntingly familiar. That same pulse of awe returned, the sense that we're standing at the edge of a new era. Whether it's a natural phenomenon or something deliberately designed, 3I/Atlas reminds us that the universe is not finished surprising us. It reminds us that discovery isn't just about finding answers, it's about encountering the unknown and realizing how much we still don't understand. Maybe that's why this story resonates so deeply. It's not just about science, it's about identity. Because if an object from another star can move with intention, can awaken after millions of years of silence, then it challenges the very boundaries we place around life, intelligence, and existence itself. Some philosophers have long suggested that the universe is alive, that galaxies, stars, and planets might function like neurons in a vast cosmic brain. And perhaps objects like 3I/Atlas are the synapses, carrying messages through time and distance, connecting civilizations across light years. Maybe we're not witnessing a machine or a comet at all. Maybe we're watching a thought drift through the universe, a memory from another world, brushing against our solar system just long enough to remind us that we're not alone. And whether that idea is poetic or real, one truth remains: the moment we stop wondering, the universe stops speaking. Right now, the world's most powerful observatories are watching 3I/Atlas and its mysterious companion with growing fascination. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory has been charting the fragment's motion in real time, and the results are extraordinary. Its path isn't random, it's curving, gently but unmistakably, as if steering itself through the void. The movement doesn't match gravitational predictions, nor does it align with the push of solar radiation. It's behaving as though it's under control. If this acceleration continues, it would mark the first recorded instance of a self-propelled interstellar object, something capable of changing course on its own. That possibility alone is reshaping the way scientists think about propulsion, physics, and even the definition of technology. Meanwhile, private and amateur observatories around the globe have joined the hunt. Using high-resolution imaging and spectroscopic filters, some have captured raw, unprocessed footage showing the fragment's faint shimmer, a rhythmic pulse of green and violet light, flashing in perfect sequence. Researchers are calling it the heartbeat of Atlas. Each flash appears deliberate, following a pattern that doesn't match known cometary activity. Is it simply a play of light and shadow? Or could it be a signal, encoded in the rhythm of the pulses? No one can say for certain yet, but the timing is too precise to ignore. NASA officials remain cautious. Their public stance frames the outburst as an unexplained but likely natural event, though internal reports admit the data doesn't fit current models. The geometry, symmetry, and steady acceleration all hint at a deeper mechanism we don't yet understand. As 3I/Atlas drifts closer toward the inner solar system, the James Webb Telescope and other instruments may soon capture detailed images. That moment could redefine what humanity knows about interstellar visitors, or even about intelligence itself. For now, we're left with silence, and light. Two travelers, one old and one newly awakened, gliding through the darkness. And somewhere in that silence, there's a pattern. A pulse. A whisper. The universe may not be speaking in words. But it's speaking nonetheless, and we're finally beginning to listen. As the days pass and 3I/Atlas drifts deeper into the darkness, the mystery only grows. What exactly escaped from that distant traveler, a shard of rock, a dormant machine, or something entirely beyond our comprehension? For now, all we can do is watch. NASA's deep space tracking systems continue to follow both the main body and the detached fragment, mapping their every pulse and shift. Soon, the data will tell us whether the smaller object continues to accelerate, and if it does, it will be the first confirmed instance of a self-directed interstellar phenomenon in human history. That discovery would change everything: our understanding of physics, of technology, and perhaps of consciousness itself. Because if this object is truly guiding its own path, then it means the universe might be more alive, more intentional, than we've ever dared to imagine. Maybe what we witnessed wasn't destruction at all, but communication, a release of information encoded not in language, but in light. A message designed to awaken only when it reached the warmth of a nearby star. And maybe that message isn't for a specific species or planet. Maybe it's for anyone, or anything, capable of noticing. Think about that for a moment. Across billions of years and trillions of miles, something could have been traveling, waiting, whispering through the vacuum of space until it crossed paths with a species just beginning to look outward. Us. So as we watch 3I/Atlas fade against the black, we stand in a moment of cosmic symmetry, a meeting between the unknown and the curious. Between what was sent and what has finally learned to listen. Perhaps what escaped from that interstellar wanderer wasn't just matter or energy. Perhaps it was memory, a record of existence written in motion, carrying the same message across time. You are not alone. You never were. And maybe, just maybe, the universe has been speaking all along. We're only now beginning to understand its language. If this story sparked your imagination, don't let it end here. Every week on Space Discovery, we explore the unknown, from deep space anomalies to the frontiers of science that challenge everything we thought we knew about the cosmos. So if you believe curiosity is humanity's greatest tool, hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell. That way, you'll never miss the next discovery waiting beyond the stars. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think 3I/Atlas is a natural phenomenon, or something built long before we existed? Share your theory in the comments below. I read every one of them, and your ideas help shape the stories we explore next. If you enjoyed this deep dive, give it a like, it helps this video reach more explorers like you. And if you know someone who still believes the universe is full of secrets, share this video with them. Because here on Space Discovery, we're not just watching space. We're learning to listen to it.